Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Investor Podcast. So many of you are feeling that things are happening fast out there, but yet there are these things in your life that feel like they're happening slow as well. It's kind of like the feeling of having your foot on the gas and having your foot on the brake at the same time. And this is all happening for you instead of happening to you, although it is happening to you if you have a break in the veil. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we're all expanding into our own greater consciousness. But what's happening is we're expanding in certain areas of our life, and then other areas of our life feel like they're sort of like stuck in molasses, Well, part of the reason is that you're not giving those areas that are stuck in molasses access to that really bigger, powerful version of you. And the way that you block access to those areas is you see them in relation to the importance level of how your old self would view them. So let me give you an example. It's easier for me to come here and do things in my business and see this as a priority because I'm helping people, I'm connecting with you, and this is my business and my life and my work, right? When it comes to opening the mail, it is easier for me to put that off or maybe half do that. I don't like doing it. And so what I do is I open it and I make this pile and I don't really finish, whatever needs to be finished with it. And then what's happening is it needs to be finished. So it still has this entangled energy that's drawing on me. I call this split energy, and I teach about this inside the Spiritual Investor. But it's still drawing on me. And it's also, every time I walk by the mail and it's still not done, I'm recreating that experience, which is basically a lack experience. So what I'm doing is I'm choosing to put my attention on things that aren't really working, but I'm not stepping into responsibility for that because I am already equating it as a lower level of priority. And that means that I'm not giving it access to that source version of me. And if I'm not giving it access, I'm not allowing any new version of how I would do that in as well. And so the way that you can get around this and basically sidestep the fact that what you want in your life is being blocked by the things that you are not doing, but you can't lean in and try and do those things better because you're doing those in a way that is the old version of you. So you're not doing it from a point of expansion. The way that you do that is you elevate all of the things that you previously thought, well, that's just not important, or especially the things that you're like, I don't do that. Like a lot of people have identity stuff around money, like I don't check my accounts, or I do check my accounts. Some people check them too much. I don't, on Tuesdays, I don't call the insurance company and talk to them about XYZ. Like, you have to scramble your life to a certain degree in order to let the new life in. Now, I'm obviously using really simple examples. More complex examples would be things that pull on your emotions, especially things that you have literally been carrying around with you as part of who you are your whole life. But that's when you really are playing a big game. When you can let go of something that you believe is just like such a part of you that your real self is almost going to die if you don't have it, then it's not that you don't, and I hate the word deserve because it shouldn't even be in our repertoire. We deserve everything, right? But I'm going to use it. It's not that you don't deserve it. You're more excited about meeting the version of you on the other side of it. So it doesn't become about the value system anymore. You see this a lot in relationships where one person wants more affection than the other person wants. And the person who wants more affection feels like that's like just within them. That's like in their bones, and they just have to have that. Well, it's not that you don't want that, but what if you were to meet the version on you on the other side of that who doesn't need that? And then in turn, that other person gets to meet that version of you as well. Then usually what happens is what you want will come in. It will come in a new version because you've given it space. But most people aren't willing to do that. Even me saying that, some of you probably to a certain degree are going, oh no, well that just doesn't even make sense. I challenge you to try it. I challenge you to even the things about money, like you're a saver or you're an investor or you need to know certain things before you go buy stocks. Like there's all of these little hidden pieces of us that are, it's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's that you're just creating the old version of you, and you can't read with the label from inside the jar. So you can't say what pieces of those don't belong in the new field of view with the new person, right? So I've been talking about this concept, breaking the structure, for a long time now. Couple of years, and it's one of the 5 components of the SI method that I teach inside the Spiritual Investor. Is basically how you apply this method to your life and actually you collapse time. So how can you bring money closer to you through collapsing time and through you actually taking action steps from a point of creation rather than just from a point of circumstance? I weave this in with you learning how to invest, and because the money that you're calling in, I want you to actually be using that right now as a point of expansion. The big benefit of this is the support system, just the structure, because just like the market just went down, I mean, and most people just sat on the sidelines. I mean, we had the tariffs and, it felt like the whole sky was falling. Well, I invested a lot of money on April 16th, which was close to the bottom. It was really close to where, the whole market had just gone sideways. And I knew that it was temporary, and I could feel it. And I could feel it because I had the space. I had the positioning. I already knew what stocks that I was going to buy. I just bought more of my favorite stocks, the same stocks that are on the list inside of the Spiritual Investor. I didn't go outside of that. There was nothing new. It was just, I was energetically aligned with being able to step into the opportunity. Now, this is everywhere in your life. This is prevalent. We have huge opportunities going on right now inside of the business. We just got published in Newsweek last week. Oh my gosh. And then we are stepping into some really big opportunities coming up even just later this week. So what do? I say, okay, I want to manage my energy in order to step into these opportunities. Well, what happens is we hit our edge. So I have hit my edge within the last few weeks with my ability to manage my energy, and it has been throwing itself back in my face, if you will. I've been tired. Have been like content and just new ideas have been coming through, but I haven't been able to sort of take them across the goal line and actually create the videos or do the coaching calls or whatever. There's been this stickiness that's there. And it's like, what I want to do is I want to say, okay, let me just get better at the way that I've been doing it. But I know better. I know better than that. So whenever I see that something is not effortless anymore, what I do is, instead of making myself get better at something, because that requires work, what I do is I look at the edges and I look at what's everything being shown to me right now. And then what I do is I look for where's that reaction in my body that gets like upset about it. And then I go, I'm going to find a new truth. So the new truth, let's just say as far as like, me hitting my edge as far as managing my energy, My new truth is that I have to elevate some of the things that I have seen as less important in my life so that they can stop stealing my energy, if you will, and that in itself is going to bring more power. Now, because I have a full knowingness that all of this is energy, because that's the space that I play in, then I also don't have to worry that there is a direct connection, because a direct connection in the energetic world doesn't look like a direct connection in the 3D world, and I don't need to see a direct connection because I know it's there. I know when I am a full open conduit, then all I have to do is go out here and just exchange the energetic currency that I have, and I choose the value that comes back into me. Well, I've done a really good job at that. The spiritual investor is amazing, and the people that we get to help is amazing. I mean, we're in our second week of our mastermind, and already people are like, holy shit, right? And that's because I manage my energy and I come to it, and the people who are coming to it, they're blowing me away. It's like, when we were looking at applications this time, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be the most powerful one. And it definitely is. And we've opened up enrollments already for the next one, and so those spots are going to go quickly. So go to thespiritualinvestor.com if you want to grab one of those. But I've hit my wall because what's being shown to me is I can't effectively, which to me means effortlessly, do all of the things that I want without something giving, without something dropping between the cracks. And so what I've done is I said, you know what? What type of schedule would I have that is so ludicrously absurd and illogical, and I just wouldn't do it? What does that look like? And I've challenged myself with it, and now I have a whole new way of being, which I'm just starting to live into, and I'm just starting to feel the edges out on that. And you know what's happened is, like I said, we get published last week in Newsweek, and look, we've been published in a lot of different articles, but it's like for this to come, and I think 3 other things came in on that day that were just monumental that we've been waiting on yeses on. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe what's opening up. So now what I'm doing is I'm using that momentum from the things that are opening up to push me further into, hey, I don't know wrong or right. I don't know if this plan is working or if I've hit it on the head. I don't really care. Am I moving more towards my goal, which is to be out here in service and to be content, to actually be in unconditional love? I'm out here because I want those feelings. The result of that is the money. And so when I am aligned with that and I'm getting more of those feelings, then I'm looking at my life and I'm going, okay, something is right. My relationships are amazing. They're cleaning up. Things are coming into my world that I just haven't even seen before in this way. Now that's really interesting because why haven't I seen it before? I couldn't see it before because I wasn't that version. So do you see how yes, you do get to say, I'm changing, I feel different, I'm in this new version. But really, the evidence is in the reflection of you having the feeling. The evidence is not in the 3D, okay, well, this has changed because of this, because of this, because of this. Because you don't really know why things have changed. You have to be in the knowingness that you live in a parallel reality and be able to use the parallel reality and to be able to pull different things in. Now, when I said I found a new truth, I hit an edge, I found a new truth, I used the parallel reality. And the way that I did that is that I said, okay, this is the truth that has come into my body that feels true now, but I feel horrible, which if I feel horrible, it means it's a lie. There's a lie in it somewhere. So what I did is I said, okay, I'm going to look back at the history, because this was in a particular relationship. And I said, I'm going to look back in the history. What's another truth? What else could be possible with this? Or what could be happening here? And I chose a new truth. And then what happened is I then let it go. That's going to be my new truth. I don't feel totally better, but I feel a little bit better. And then I know enough about this using energy to know that the next step is you've got to let it go, because energy doesn't work until you give it space. And so I let it go, and I kid you not, it wasn't that night, it was the next day. Oh my God, that relationship was completely transformed. And now I'm here in another 24 hours later, and it's beyond anything that I could have imagined. Like, seriously. And my letting go of needing to see direct connection is allowing me to discover new connections, but I'm still not going to the point of this is because of this, because of this, because of this, because that's really a waste of time. That's just going back into the matrix. And if you want to collapse time, you have to be willing to give up your relationship with time. And you can't give up your relationship with time if you're spending all your time logically connecting things. And so all of this, everything you want, is a point of letting go and a point of allowing. So how willing are you to go? How far are you willing to go? And what you're trading here is you're trading your feel goodness, if you will, about your identity. Because you have things about you that you feel like are just so you and are just so precious and wonderful. And they are, I'm sure. But those are the same things that are keeping you from what you want, because those are the things you fight the hardest for. Those are the things that you justify the most. And here's how you find those is what are those top 3 things that you feel like if you had in your life or were fixed in your life, everything would be solved. That is your edge, and that has a strong identity associated with it. What if you were to step beyond those things, those major important things? What if you were to step beyond those things? Well, what would happen is you wouldn't die. What would happen is you would meet a new version of you that you have now pulled down from a parallel reality that has more capability to be open and to think open in a new way, because that version, guess what? That version doesn't have the same past that you do. Once you give up your identity, you give up your past. And people are doing it in reverse. They're doing it the wrong way. They're trying to fix all their conditioning. And that's a slow boat to China. Like, if you want to fix it all, you have to lean into the edge and you have to go beyond who you are now, but you have to do it from a place of choosing. And you literally have to ignore a lot of these alarm bells that are going on. If you look at successful people, they have gone beyond and ignored everything that would have told them that it wasn't a good idea in their life. I mean, I don't know if you've heard the story of Michelangelo, but, just in short, he was 17 years old and he bought a block of marble and didn't even have the money to buy it, like barely could buy it, and had to lie to his family about what he was doing and spending his time, and then had to go and cut open, I say had to, he chose this, to go and cut open dead people, cadavers at night, snuck around and did that so he could study the ligaments and the tendons and the muscles and all that, so that he knew that if this sculpture of Hercules was going to be at the level that he wanted it to be at, that he couldn't sculpt it from the outside in. He had to understand the human body and the distances between a muscle and a tendon and how the organs were pushing things out. He had to understand that from the inside out. And so nothing would have been logical about that. And now here we are, like 800 years later, actually still talking about this. Like, it's the magnificence of it is in direct relation to the magnetism that you're willing to create by completely bypassing who you are. Because you've already drawn in, based on your current magnetism, the opportunity and the people and the situations that you can now. And so stop trying to squeeze juice out of the same orange and go, I want more money out of this situation. That's really the hard way to go. And if you feel exhausted, then that's showing you that you're actually choosing the more difficult path. So, as I always say, I hope you can take one thing from this and go vertical on it and have it help you in your life. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to co-create with you. I love your questions. The SI Club is where we extend upon these conversations and we give you journal prompts and we have more of a deep dive conversation on this. If that's something that you think is going to help your life, it's $17. So it's something that's available to you. I also give you 1 to 2 stocks a month so that you don't have to be just sitting on the sidelines in fear. You can start building an investment portfolio. And just feel the momentum of that and see your money expanding. Because imagine the version of you who wakes up and is like, wait, I can do whatever I want to do today because I'm expanding money. I mean, that's power. All right, so much love to you. Thank you for listening to this podcast and for expanding your own wealth capacity so that you can begin living a bigger life and also influence others. And speaking of that, if you found this podcast valuable, then others will too. So please help us get the word out and share. And if you have any questions or thoughts, I'm here to help. You can reach me on Instagram at Elizabeth Ralph. I answer all of my DMs personally because we're in this together and we're all working towards the same higher consciousness level.